What's up, guys, and welcome back to the God of Thunder podcast. I'm your host, the God of Thunder, and sorry it took me so long to post this video. You know, I got to be honest right now. I've only been doing this podcasting for about a month, maybe, and there's nothing more frustrating than creating a video and not having the right computer to where it crashes and you constantly lose your freaking video. And this is the third time I'm making this video, and it's frustrating, but I also love to do it. So it's like, God, you you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right? But anyways, moving on to bigger things. I've also been pretty busy with college this week. It was finals week. Done with that, so we're moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers, and well, if I have to say so, it was a tough game last week, right? So we're gonna dive into that, but it is also Philip Rivers, the GOAT. It's his birthday, so in his honor, on this Friday, I'm wearing the Philip Rivers jersey, rocking that. One of my favorite players, Charger players of all time. Shout out to Philip Rivers and his 13 kids that he has. Um, but let's jump right into the recap of the Patriots at Chargers. One of the worst games I have ever seen. Right, 6-0. We were battling the elements, um, but it was a tough game to watch. Like one of the most boring games I've ever seen. I think the only game or the only thing that was exciting about that game was when the freaking Chargers wide receivers were dropping these balls. So frustrating. But that was the only thing that really got me out of the got me out of my seat. Right. So diving into it, the Chargers played a the defense pitched a shutout, right? Which is hard to do in the NFL, which is hard to do against any NFL team because I mean it's just simply not really seen. Um, but the offense played like crap, had a bunch of drop balls, right? And kind of, I thought we were going to get over those woes, but QJ had another huge drop ball, which was very disappointing. Um, so another game that we could have definitely done better, but we simply just did not. So it's frustrating, but it's all right. Like I said, the defense pitched a shutout. Khalil Mack had another great game with 2 sacks, 2 tackles for losses. Um, Thule, even though it's not going to show up on the box score, played extremely well against a run game. I think he forced like 2 sacks. He was making Bailey Zappi feel uncomfortable the whole game. And then Dean Leonard, who is unfortunately out this game, but he's one of those cornerbacks that we picked up in the 6th round last year, and he played extremely well, played tough, had like 8 tackles, and was playing well the whole game. But with him being out this game, we all know Vato or Michael Davis got benched, so he's going to come back in, which is maybe a good thing because him being out for a week, maybe that like re-energized him and made him really like focus on what he needs to do to maintain that starting position. So it could be a good thing on that end. Um, but we'll see. Another guy I wanted to mention was our one of the D tackles. I think his name's Nick Williams. He played extremely well. I haven't really noticed him all season, but in this game, like he was penetrating the Patriots offensive line, getting the backfield, blowing up some plays. He was a really good run stopper. This dude's like 6'4", over 300 pounds, and he played extremely well, right? So hopefully we could see him more integrated into that first and second down role play, which I think he has been. But I just, like I said, I barely even noticed him until this game, and he played well. And if we want to keep stopping the run, even though we didn't do too good of a job this week, if we want to keep doing and getting him involved, I think it'll only benefit us. Um, Justin Herbert threw for over 200 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Another subpar game as far as Justin Herbert's standards go. Um, Man, like I mean, obviously he didn't get any help from his wide receivers. Uh, so I think Parmesan had a drop pass. QJ obviously had that big one. So he's not getting any help, but the offensive line did do well. Pass blocking. which was good. They didn't allow 0 sacks. Justin Herbert also helped the offensive line, like getting out of the pocket and throwing the ball in the run. The run game was abysmal. I think this was the worst performance I've seen from Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly, like since they've played this football game. Like, right, I think Austin Eckler's struggling really bad, and I'm gonna get more into that when we discuss the Chargers. Um, but we need to figure something out, right? Like, because obviously Austin Eckler is not working for us right now, and there's a change that needs to be made, and I think it should happen this game. But moving on to the special teams, what a great game! Like, they're the real reason why we won this game. Like, J.K. Scott was constantly like changing the field position in our favor with those booming punts. I don't think I've ever seen him kick a punt that far. He had some really great punts, pinning them constantly within the 20-yard line, and it for a New England Patriot offense that was struggling was exactly what we needed them to do. Um, and then Cameron Dicker, right? Dicker, the freaking kicker, man, is he's like solidifying himself as one of the best kickers in the league, which is refreshing as a Chargers fan who has seen the struggles that we've had against or with our kickers in the past. Like, I mean, going all the way back to freaking the Nate Kading days where he couldn't kick a field goal to save his life. I think he messed up or he missed like a couple field goals in a playoff game. So, I mean, it's so refreshing as a Chargers fan to finally see some stability as far as the kicking game goes. And I'm a big Cameron Dicker fan. So, shout out to those two guys. Played extremely well. Part of the reason why we won this game. All right, now let's jump right into the game that we're going to be seeing this week. The Broncos are coming in at 6-6. They've been playing extremely well the past 6 weeks. They just lost to the Houston Texans, where Russell Wilson threw 3 interceptions. So that was tough. But I think, with that being said, that they're playing well. I mean, they beat the Green Bay Packers. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Browns, who have a solid defense. They've beaten some really solid play teams that are like either in the playoffs or in contention to be in the playoffs, right? So I mean, they're not the team that we expected them to be at the beginning of the season, and they're definitely not the team that we seen play the Dolphins and lose 70-20. So they're a whole different football team, and I think the big contributing factor to that is obviously none other than Sean Payton. And I was one of those fans that was screaming for Sean Payton. I would have loved to seen a Sean Payton, Justin Herbert marriage of where like we just used that offensive mind of Sean Payton. And I think it would have been really successful. But hey, didn't happen. So we're moving on. We kept Brandon Staley. And now we have the potential to hire another offensive head or a head coach that I think would really contribute to this organization, and Jim Harbaugh, right? I think Jim Harbaugh is one of those coaches that once you get him, like he's in the tier of Andy Reid and all those great coaches. So I think having him come to the Chargers would be huge. And I know everyone's going to give me some pushback about that Sports Illustrated report that came out that he's finalizing a deal or in contract talks with Michigan to re-up his contract, get paid $11 million a year. But that's contingent on him not seeking employment in the NFL. So why haven't they signed that contract right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, if that was a done deal, that would have been signed already. Um, so you take that with a grain of salt, right? Just like you hear the reports that he's coming to the Chargers or he's coming back to the NFL, like there's nothing set in stone. So you take that report just like you take every other report. So moving on. My opinion before that, my opinion is that Jim Harbaugh is going to be the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers next year. Hands down, that's my opinion. Take it for what you want. That's just a Charger fan that knows what this franchise needs. Put me at GM, baby. Like, or put me at the owner. Just let me buy the team. Anyways, all right. So the Broncos are coming in with like a defense, an offense that have like really turned it around these past 6 weeks. I think they're averaging 22 points a game offensively, and then only allowing 17 points a game defensively. So the defense has hit has turned it around a little bit, and they do have some offensive weapon or defensive weapons in Pat Sertan, who was on the injury report, but it looks like he's going to play. And then they also have their safety Simmons, who's extremely well pass defender. So they do have some depth. And then as far as their linebacking core, they're like one of the best in the league, in my opinion. So they're pretty good on the defensive side. Offensive side of the ball, we all know Russell Wilson's playing a lot better this year. He has, 21 touchdowns to only 7 interceptions, and those 7 interceptions prior to this last game, there was only four. So he threw 3 picks against the Houston Texans. I don't expect that to carry over into this game. The Houston Texans are known for their takeaways. I think top 10 in the league. They have 18 overall. So I wouldn't say 3 interceptions was to be expected, but I think their defense is good enough to where we expected somewhat of those takeaways. Now, what they're going to want to do, right? I think against our defense, like obviously they know that we have a weakness when it comes to the secondary, and especially with Vato being back in the lineup, I think they're going to really want to attack Vato. So I think Sutton, Staley's plan should probably be to take Sutton away because Jerry Judy hasn't had a 100-yard game this season. But what better way? And I feel like every team has done this is when they need a pick me up game, they play the freaking Chargers, and everything that they haven't been able to accomplish up to that point in the season, like they have. Like Jordan Love came back, had a huge game against us, and he's been rolling ever since. I think that's going to go the same for Jerry Judy. I think he's going to have a huge game for us. Like I said, he hasn't had a 100-yard game this season. I think this is probably the game that he is going to have that 100-yard game, and this game's going to be a shootout. Sutton is Wilson's favorite target, so if we take him away, like really look for Jerry Judy to step into that role and then get his first 100-yard game of the season. As far as what we've been able to do in the past couple weeks defensively, we haven't been able to stop the run, even though we've done well against the pass, um, holding Bailey Zappi and Lamar Jackson to under 200 yards. We've been giving up huge numbers in the run game. 148 against the Patriots, and then 197 against the Baltimore Ravens. So our defense, like I said, inconsistency, which plagued this whole team, even when it comes to the quarterback. We do good in one side of the ball or in one aspect of defense. The other aspect, we just can't keep it together for whatever reason. So I don't think that they're going to be able to have an effective rush game like the Patriots or the Baltimore Ravens did, because it's just going to be not that type of game. Like that was out of necessity that the Patriots had to run the ball that much. And then the Baltimore Ravens just have the best rushing attack in the league. So 197 yards, that's like a bad day almost for them. But I think you got to look for Russell Wilson. He's going to come out. They're going to come out swinging because they know that's our vulnerability, right? Is our secondary, especially with Dean Leonard out and Vato Davis back in the lineup. Moving on to the Chargers. Oh man, 6 points. We put up 6 points. Look, we're 5-7. That was a win. A win is a win, no matter how ugly it is. It was what we needed, right? But I want to talk about the rush game because it was horrible. 28 rush yards between Austin Eckler and Joshua Kelly. Joshua Kelly only had like 6 carries. Austin Eckler had like 18. So, I mean, what does that say about Austin Eckler? Like, can we finally admit that maybe he hit the running back cliff of where they hit the age of 28 and they just fall completely off and he's not viable? Because, I mean, can you contribute it to the offensive line? Maybe. Reviewing the video, Austin Eckler had some holes in the game against the Patriots, and he just didn't hit them when he needed to. So, I mean, maybe he's falling off. I would like to contribute it to injuries because he's like one of my favorite Charger players, but he's not on the injury report. He came back from that ankle sprain and they say he's completely healthy every week. So I think it's time. Like I've been advocating for Joshua Kelly to get those first and second down carries. And then in this week's presser, one of the pressers, Brandon Staley said that they're gonna leave that running back position or the running back carries open for competition, which is good, right? We just released Dotson, who was the running back that we kept on the 53-man roster after a stellar performance in the preseason. We released him, so I'm hoping that that is a good sign that maybe Isaiah Spiller has come along a little bit more, and the coaching staff is really starting to trust him because he doesn't play any other. He doesn't help the special teams. He doesn't help any other aspect of our team. He's just mainly a running back, and he is our big running back. So hopefully, what that signifies is that Dotson's gone because Isaiah Spiller can be trusted, and we're gonna hopefully see him this game. Uh, when you watch him play, he has some real like Le'Veon Bell, that stutter step, that patient reading the holes. But I think the big thing is that he really can't pass block, which is significant because we got Justin Herbert, and no one wants to leave Justin Herbert a free runner to hit him and injure him. So we'll see how this game plays out. But I think what we're going to see is Kelly maybe not get the start, but get the majority of the carries. And then Austin Eckler, we should really turn him into a role player and use him as like that third down back because he is a good pass catcher, even though he's had some issues with dropping the ball. But I think it's time to maybe transition him into more of a role player. And let's let these young bucks get the ball and run and see what they could do. I mean, what do we have to lose, right? We're 5-7. The offensive run game's not working at all. So if you try some other guys, like what is there to lose? And the answer is nothing, right? Can't get any worse than 28 yards in a football game where all you had to do was run the football. Moving on to Justin Herbert. He's been having somewhat of a slump, I would say, even though we won the game last week. Like, what more can you ask from your quarterback if you're winning? But he hasn't had a signature Justin Herbert game, and I think that that's going to come this week against the Broncos because although they have some good defenders in their secondary, I just think that this has to be a game that Justin Herbert plays extremely well, and a game that he's going to have to step up, right? Keenan Allen's not in the injury report, so we know he's healthy this week, or as healthy as he can be. And then another guy that's been stepping up big time for the Chargers is Erickson. He's one of those wide receivers that we picked up off our practice squad or elevated him, and he stepped up. He caught the game-winning first down against the Patriots. So I think he's moving into that role of like Justin Herbert trusting him, and I think that's gonna play huge in this game. He may be wide receiver two now because QJ obviously he's got everything that you want in a wide receiver, but he simply cannot catch the freaking football, right? And he was doing good. He was doing good the whole game. I mean, up to that point where he dropped that football, he was. They were utilizing him in the fashion that they should have been this whole season, right? He was catching slant balls, he was catching screen balls, and he was doing phenomenal at it. But the moment that we needed him on that third down, Justin Herbert delivered a dot right to him, hit him right in the hands. Like, I don't know what's up with that dude. I mean, you could say elements, it was raining, blah, 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 blah. But the fact of the matter is, he dropped the ball and we had to punt the ball. Okay. So these guys get paid millions of dollars to do one thing, and that's catch the ball. And he hasn't done it. And then, like, I think we all seen him moping on the sidelines, like, bro, I got it. It's tough, man, but just look, man, you can't dwell on it, right? You gotta if you don't catch the ball, fine. But we can't see you moping around. Like, just come back in the game and just continue to work on your craft and catch the freaking ball. It's simpler. It's simple, right? He's a wide receiver, and it's the one thing you should do. Just like a kicker. What do you want a kicker to do? Make field goals. What do you want a wide receiver to do? Catch the freaking ball. I still have faith in him, though. I know a lot of you giving up on him, but he is so young. He still has potential, and I think he's going to be like at the when it's all said and done. I think he'll be a solid wide receiver for us. Joshua Palmer was not taken off IR, but his 21 day window was opened up, which is a good sign. I don't think we'll see him this game, but we should see him Thursday against the Raiders when they come to Vegas. So that should be interesting. I think the main person in this game who's going to have a huge impact is Gerald Everett. The Denver Broncos struggle against tight ends, and I think after what we've seen from Gerald Everett last week, I think he has the potential to have a huge game. I'm talking 90 yards, a touchdown, and even some sweet plays probably. But he played extremely well. But for whatever reason, like the targets started to shy away from him, and he kind of disappeared. But I think if we get him reintegrated into the passing game and have him see some more targets, like I think he's going to have a big game and going to be one of our X factors. So with that being said, like with that, and with all the pass drops that we've had and the run struggles, like another key component of this game is going to be Justin Herbert not turning over the football. Is going to be the wide receivers not dropping footballs. Is going to be the running backs not fumbling the balls. Like if we want any shot at winning this game, no turnovers. Point blank period. No turnovers. Can't afford it. Not when we're trying to make a playoff push. Right. And then like I said, Justin Herbert needs to have a signature Justin Herbert game if we want a shot at winning this game, and I think he's going to do it. I think it's very, very possible. His against the Broncos, he's kind of been up and down. I think he has a total of 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. He's gone for 200 yards in every one of those games, but overall he's 2-2. This is going to be a an offense that our defense will be familiar with because Brandon Staley and Joe Lombardi went at it for 2 seasons in mini camp and in practice. So I think it's going to be a chess game, right? And then we also have some smoke from Sean Payton talking all the smoke that he did about Brandon Staley. So I think there's some extra motivation on both sides of the ball or both teams because Sean Payton wanted the Charger job, didn't get it, and he talked all that mess about all that crap about Brandon Staley. Brandon Staley, for whatever he says, he heard that. So I think he has something for Sean Payton. He's gonna want to show Sean Payton, show the NFL that he's worthy of a defensive coordinator position next year because we know minus a Super Bowl run that Brandon Staley's gone, and we're gonna get a new head coach with the Los Angeles Chargers. So with that being said, I want to talk about my predictions. Um, it's gonna be this is gonna be a shootout in my opinion. Um, and I think we're going to win the game, right? I think it's going to be a shootout, but it's going to come down to another one of those last drives. And I think Justin Herbert's finally going to get over the hump and deliver a game winning drive. And we're going to win this game 27-24. Chargers put the W in the bank, right? And then with that being said, we get this win and we are back, dare I say, in playoff contention. We're in 12th place right now. We're behind the Broncos. We're behind the Colts. We're behind the Steelers. We're behind the Bengals. We're behind the Bills. So there's a lot at the end. We're behind the Browns. So there's a lot of teams that are in front of us. But, right, a lot of those teams are playing with backup quarterbacks. And a lot of those teams are going to be playing each other, right? So there's going to be teams that are going to go on losing streaks, and it's just up to the Chargers to win out because if we win out from this point forward, we're playing the Broncos 2 games. We're going to have the tiebreaker over the Broncos. We're playing the Bills. We're going to have the tiebreaker over the Bills. Playing the Raiders. We're going to have the tiebreaker over the Raiders. And in true Charger fashion, I think this is going to come down to the final game of the season against the Chiefs. Typically, you would say that is going to be okay because the Chiefs are probably already have the 1 seed locked up. I don't think that's going to be the case this year because we all have seen their offensive struggles. So this game is going to come down to a win and you're in. As long as we could start off on the right foot and get this W against the Broncos. But that's so far ahead that I think we really just have to focus game by game and the opponent that's in front of us, which is the Denver Broncos. And like I said, I think we're going to get off on the right foot, win this game in a shootout, 27-24. With that being said, thank you all for coming in and joining me. Like I said, this is my third time filming this one freaking podcast because my computer sucks. But if you like my content, if you like my analysis, if you like my breakdown, go ahead and shoot me a like and a subscribe to my channel. I'm going to go buy a computer tomorrow because I am absolutely sick of this and I've spent too many hours talking about the same thing. Yeah, go ahead, shoot me a like, subscribe, and let's go get this W, baby. Bolt up.
Bye.